Welcome back, teachers, to another newscast. I'm Brooke Benny.
And I'm Kaylee Langback, and we have a lot of great stories planned out to show you today.
Turning work in on time is hard.
Well, that stinks. Wonder why that keeps happening.
Aiden has the scoop on the learning curve.
Timberland High School, like every other American high school, has faced challenges teaching students after COVID from procrastinating and not understanding lessons.
It was very stressful because whenever I had questions about the assignment, it was harder to ask them over virtual, but this year I'm able to ask more questions in person. It was harder for me to learn the concepts and drop my grades down, and now that I'm in person, it's easier for me to learn because I have the teachers helping me.
It's made me overall a better studier and made me use my time more wisely because I had to during quarantine.
My teaching style has stayed pretty similar to what I've done in the past. I try to keep it fun, hands-on, and I try to help students get the experiences they need to go out into life. Challenges for teaching this year versus other years versus COVID. The biggest thing, again, it's communication and it's taking responsibility. And I think sometimes it's hard for people to engage because they haven't been held as accountable, and it's a different thought process, and we really have to work through that and show the expectations and talk to them. But it's also sometimes getting their attention because their phones are super important.
According to Insider Hire, 85% of the students they interviewed said that COVID negatively affected their performance. A lot of students had a hard time turning in work and gave them more of a reason to procrastinate, which is giving them bad habits this year, according to Frontier Inn.
This year, 2 new teachers have been added to Timberland staff.
Let's go to Sam with this week's spotlight on Meredith Lynn and Rachel Bernhardt.
I'm Sam Kirby, talking about Timberland's new teachers, Lynn and Bernhardt. About 310,000 teachers start teaching each year, and many of them become teachers differently than others.
Yes, this is my first year teaching. I've always loved social studies. That's been a big thing for me, especially with history. But then gradually through college, I realized I loved high school students and making relationships with them. I was nervous at first because I'm so young. I kind of look like a student. It's been a really great experience.
There are 3.3 million full-time public school teachers in the United States.
I've been teaching for 4 years. This is my first year at Timberland. Probably most nervous about just making sure that I'm prepared because I also have 2 small children at home, so just finding the time to balance everything. Teaching at Timberland is really great. So far I love all my students and all my classes, so that's really cool. I wanted to become a teacher well, first of all, I love math, and second of all, I love building the relationships with students and just really trying to make a difference. Disrespect frustrates me the most. So far, I've noticed the culture is different here. All of my students this year are really great, and in years past, I've always had a couple classes that were really hard, and this year, I haven't really encountered that.
52% of teachers at public schools have their master's degree.
This is my 3rd year teaching and my 3rd year here at Timberland. I've grown a lot in the ways that I can help students better understand the content and keeping them really actively engaged and having fun in class. A good day would be a day where all the students are participating, they're having fun, and we're just all really working hard to understand what it is we're learning.
Despite the challenges that new teachers face, Lynn and Bernhardt continue to enjoy their first year at THS. If you'd like to meet them, you can swing by rooms 173 and 279.
Lynn Crew's Monster Bash had a great turnout from freshmen last month, and it seems they have a lot more events planned.
Let's go to Nathan to learn more about Lynn Crew.
Lynn Crew is a class and has been around for 9 years, according to April Smith. Lynn Crew is designed to help freshmen get acclimated to high school their first year.
Well, they've helped me with my classes and how my freshman year was gonna go this year. The Link leaders have impacted me because they got me more involved in Spirit Day.
Impact Link Crew has on Timberland is an increase in school spirit through Link leaders and especially through freshmen to participating.
Probably the Monster Bash and the giant theme for the first game of football. I went to those two.
Me to be
more responsible, and it's made me become like a truer version of myself.
A group of usually 8 to 10 freshmen. Over the summer, the link leaders go through training, and then we have an orientation day with hopefully, it's usually about 85% of the incoming freshman class. Through the school year, the freshmen are in AI classes with their link leaders, and we just help keep them informed on things and try to get them involved and build connections with them.
Thanksgiving is in 2 weeks. We will have no school from the 24th through the 28th. Fun fact, it's always on a Thursday because Andrew Johnson made a proclamation for it to be that way in 1863, according to the libraryofcongress.com.
I'm sick of staying in to watch TV.
You won't have to soon.
Really?
Yeah, Timberland's having a play in the auditorium.
Carter has our next story on the fall play.
Hey THS, now that COVID policies are lightening up, we actually have to go outside. This year, THS will be performing The Bold, the Young, and the Murdered.
The best part about being in the play is just acting with my friends. I've loved acting ever since I was a kid, so it's fun just to do it with all my friends this year. Yes, I want to keep performing after high school. I've been performing for years, and I just love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
The best part about being in the play, I like being in after school, kind of just like with people that I know, kind of all just buddies. And it's kind of a lighthearted thing. There's nothing like too strenuous about it. We're all kind of friends.
As stage manager, I'm responsible for the actors, making sure they know their lines, have their props, know their places. I work with Miss Queen to make sure she has everything she needs, help the crew. I kind of do everything, so. The hardest part is also working with the actors. It's when they don't know their lines, it's frustrating because then I have to help them go through it, but it's all a part of the job, and the hardest part ends up being the best part.
THS will be performing the show on the 11th through 13th at 7 p.m. This is Carter Winston, back to the studio.
Your friend jumped off a cliff, would you?
Obviously no.
You might be surprised on how people push us to do things. Let's cut to this week's PSA on mob mentality.
Where'd you get those shoes? The toilet store?
Ever felt the need to do something just because everyone else is? This can be described as mob mentality. Mob mentality is a phenomenon that occurs when people are influenced by a large group or peers by following their actions and behaviors, according to WebMD. Mob mentality can happen on different degrees, whether it be day-to-day by simply doing things because your friends are, or something like a large crowd of people influencing your actions to follow along with them. Examples of mob mentality can be seen in the Salem witch trials, where innocent people in the 1600s put to death due to a large groupthink that others were committing witchcraft. Since it became popular belief in the crowds, others followed along. In present day, you can see mob mentality with daily trends that come in social media or TikTok, where trends like devious looks influence students' behavior to carry out actions that are wrong. But since it's received well by the crowd, people feel the need to join in. Bullying someone or hating a group can also be mob mentality line of thinking. In a survey taken by students, 132 said yes to doing something just because someone else did. Some responded saying they did it because they didn't want to feel excluded. If you notice everyone is on the same page, or feel like their opinion is the only one, that can be a sign of mob mentality. It is hard to avoid, but if you realize the signs of groups or others influencing your actions in a bad way, know that you do not have to do it. More often than not, others will understand and might follow your lead instead if you resist mob mentality. If you're the one trying to make someone agree with you, try to sympathize with other people's opinions, and don't get angry if people are honest and disagree. Having different points of view is a good thing.
Hope you enjoyed our newscast, and remember to
have a great day.